The legendary story of an animal-loving reporter who comes to save a group of majestic gray whales trapped by ice in the Arctic Circle. Will he succeed? Let's figure this out. Welcome back to the Explanation Pro. Today I'll recap a drama film called Big Miracle from 2012. Spoiler alert. Watch out and take care. The movie is set in 1988. It begins with a reporter filming with his camera in a small town in Alaska. All of a sudden, he spots some strange movement coming from the iced water. He zooms the camera in to see the phenomena better. The cameraman, whose name is Adam, gets closer to the Polonia and continues filming. Later, the major arrives at the scene of the action to see what's going on. The water pound looks empty at first sight, but one moment later, a whale emerges to the surface. The majestic animal releases water from its spiracle. It turns out that 3 gray whales are under the iced surface. Adam finds the encounter satisfying but soon realizes there's something wrong going on. Why would the whales be there anyway? Why haven't they continued swimming somewhere else? After all, there is no point in staying there. A villager explains to Adam that the whales are trapped. He says that when temperatures go down at night, the seawater gets frozen. It seems, then, that this climatic effect took place recently and has caught the 3 whales. On top of that, the villager says that within 3 days, the rest of the water will be frozen as well, leading the whales to their death. Adam then returns to his studio and begins to work. Nonetheless, he cannot take the whales out of his head. He knows that he needs to do something about it. He then picks the phone up and contacts New York City. The following day, Adam's news is transmitted on the TV, where he explains the sad event that the whale and its family are undergoing. Luckily, this report attracts lots of people from the media, and some of them travel to Alaska as well. It seems that Adam's report will save the whales, but that couldn't be further from the truth. The major explains that there are lots of whale hunters nearby. These hunters provide food to the villagers, which only makes the matter worse since putting a stop to the hunters won't be easy. To be more precise, most villagers will be on the hunters' side. So, a press conference is held to determine the fate of the whales. At this conference, activist Rachel Kramer and the local hunters engage in a heated debate. The natives explain that their hunting is legal, and a way of providing food to the people. Kramer, on the other hand, states that an icebreaker will come sooner or later, destroying the thick ice and helping the whales return to the open sea. Both parties are determined not to yield, so it seems that there won't be a solution soon. In the end, though, the major appears at the conference and finally decides that the whales will be rescued one way or another. Needless to say, this has some of the villagers annoyed. What do you think will happen? Will the villagers rebel against the major? Will they be on his side? The next morning, everyone prepares to drive to the whales' location. Some villagers seize the opportunity to offer a ride to reporters and tourists in exchange for money. Meanwhile, the major and his men use chainsaws to open the Polonia. That way, the mammals have more space for movement and more areas for breathing. One of the whales shows its face and the major smiles at it. It turns out that the whales will be a short-term tourist point to make money for the village. This is an intelligent move, because the whales will be alive, and the villagers content. Later, Kramer finds out that one of the whales is wounded. So, she puts herself in a diving suit and jumps into the iced Arctic water. She slowly swims toward the whales, and soon discovers that one of them has a fishing net trapped in its tail. Needless to say, Kramer approaches the whale and with the help of her knife, frees the whale's tail from the damaging net. The animals gently swim in front of her, as if they were thanking Kramer for her help. Kramer makes it back to the surface and explains the issue with the fishing net to the rest. Now, there's not much that they can do, other than wait for the icebreaker to arrive and free the whales once and for all. Sadly, problems don't stop there. Temperature decreases once again and water begins to freeze. Not to mention, the whales are already tired and haven't eaten for days. What worries the reporters the most is the baby whale who has a wound that seems to be getting worse, even after removing the fishing net. At night, the people keep working on the Polonia, making their best to keep it as big as possible. Unfortunately, the pace at which the water gets frozen is too fast and makes the job futile. So, they need to find a solution as soon as possible. The activists and reporters call for help and some men arrive by helicopter. One of them is carrying a machine that, supposedly, will prevent the water from getting solid. Kramer looks at the machine a bit skeptical. After all, the device is too small, and everyone fears it might not work at all. However, the man who brought it is too excited and strongly believes it will bring beneficial results. What will it happen? Worse luck, the generator stops working and is unable to get the machine starting. Fast as lightning, Kramer calls Adam. The reporter suggests finding a different machine and advises not to turn it on immediately, otherwise, it might stop working again. So, Kramer and a team rush to find a brand new machine. Eventually, they make it to a base and get the machine. It's time for everyone to head back to the helicopter and fly back to the whale's location. The pilot, however, warns Kramer that starting the helicopter's engine now would be a dangerous deed. He explains that the combustion gases are inside the helicopter's cabin, which could be fatal for them. Kramer insists on flying, saying that they could fly with the doors opened. That way, the gases would leave the cabin and fresh air could come in. In the end, everyone agrees with Kramer's plan. But of course, it wouldn't work that easily. Since the doors were opened, the gelid Arctic weather gets inside the vehicle. As a result, the pilot's eyes get frozen and the man finds it impossible to fly. One of the passengers, then, gets next to the pilot and uses his warm saliva to melt the icy layer away from the man's eyes. This magnificent plan works and the pilot is able to land safely. Kramer and the rest take the machine and head toward the Polonia. Luckily, this time the device works flawlessly. The whale's life expectancy has extended thanks to this machine. The sun rises up once again. The people have made new holes in the ice surface so the whales have more space to breathe. They watch 2 out of 3 whales come out and regain air. So, Kramer realizes the third one is missing. Where could it be? Time passes by but the baby whale never shows its face. Unfortunately, the major soon concludes that the little whale died. It had a big wound and was not a grown adult, so the hard conditions caused her death. Everyone is moved by the tragic event and mourns the little whale's death. Of course, there's still hope for the other 2 animals, so no one's planning to give in yet. The major gets everyone in the village to keep working on the holes. They make hole after hole, trying to guide the 2 remaining whales to the shore. Nonetheless, when the major makes it to the shore, he discovers the next big challenge: a huge wall of broken ice that prevents the whales from making it to the sea. The wall is colossal, so they'll definitely need the help of the icebreaker. Unfortunately, the boat was trapped on ice and is unable to move. Rachel, then, considers it best to ask for the president's help. She begs him to contact the Soviet Union and ask for an icebreaker boat since the one they were waiting for before is stuck in the ice. This seems to be a great idea, but needless to say, the president denies providing any help. After all, the Soviet Union is America's worst enemy. He's not willing to ask them for any favor. Luckily, Kramer has a trick up her sleeve. She says that the elections are coming soon and that if he doesn't help to free the whales, then she will do her best to put people against him. After all, the Americans will know that their president didn't collaborate with the helpless animals, which could make him lose votes. In the end, the president caves into the pressure since he doesn't want to risk his reputation. Once the American president contacts the Soviet Union, the news ran rampant. The media goes wild after finding out that the 2 enemy countries joined forces for such a noble act. Now that the event is known worldwide, everyone at the Alaska village gets excited and keeps working proudly. After all, knowing that their efforts may bring tangible results fills them with determination. While the villagers are working on the holes, they hear a whistle coming from afar. It is the Russian icebreaker swimming toward the ice wall. The villagers are now over the moon. Unfortunately, they're also completely unaware of the problem the boat will have to face. It turns out that the wall of ice is too big and the mariners believe the icebreaker won't be able to pass through it. The captain decides to get closer to the wall and check whether the ice will be broken or not. So, the boat proceeds until it hits the ice walls. Naturally, the wall of ice barely receives any damage. Kramer and the rest of the villagers get highly discouraged. The captain, then, speaks to the people and calms everyone down. He explains that the hit was a mere test, to understand the nature of the wall and know if their boat would be enough. The boat gives it a second chance, hitting the wall with all its might. The wall cracks even deeper, but it is still there. There's no way the animals will pass through it. So, the captain orders to give it yet one more try. The boat advances fast through the water, finally hitting the icy wall, passing over it, and creating a big hole. When the boat backs down, everyone rushes to the shore. They want to see the whales swimming free into the ocean. They want to know that their efforts weren't in vain. However, there is no sign of the animals whatsoever. Time passes by and the whales don't move at all. People begin to lose hope when all at once, the first whale appears on the surface. Then, the second one jumps out of the water as well. Kramer, the villagers, the major, and the crew smile, clap and celebrate. They have finally helped the animals make it back to the sea. What's more, such a miraculous event helped dissipate all the political and nationalistic ideologies, at least, for a brief moment. The people gaze at the whales swimming gently toward the horizon. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe to stay updated.